Thank you for being with us today. We are really happy to have you on board for this webinar. I present you Jérôme de Reclès.
Good morning to all the attendees.
And myself, Damien Mironov. I'm product expert with Apply regarding our solution Compare and Analyze. So the main focus on our webinar today will be, first of all, a quick demonstration of our tool. And then we're going to speak of the news, I would say, the actuality regarding the shipping and the sea freight industry with Jérôme. So first of all, the presentation of Compare and Analyze solution, then the current situation of shipping transports. And of course, at the end, we will have 5 minutes regarding question and answer if you have some. So do not hesitate to put your question with the tool using Zoom. You have a Q&A section. Feel free to ask your question. We're going to look at it at the end of this webinar. First of all, what is Apply and what is our solution Compare and Analyze? It's an advanced analysis and prediction tool. So mainly what we are doing is a benchmarking tool. We are analyzing the market trends, and in order for you to give you the tool to take the more enlightened decision. This is the first thing you have to know. The second part would be a worldwide multimodal coverage. You'll see a little bit later on, we have a coverage regarding the sea freight, the air freight, and of course the road freight. And the millions data collected, it's our main sources, it's our database. And once again, we'll speak about that later on, but you have to know that we are speaking about transactional price. And this is really important for you to know that we are not speaking about quotes, we are speaking about invoiced prices. Regarding our coverage, this is our main road Europe coverage. So as you can see, we are really good on the western of Europe, and we are increasing our database regarding the eastern of Europe, actually. This is our North America coverage still regarding the road freight. We are really good on the main state where there's some really heavy industries. And we are also operating on Canada and North and Mexico as well. Regarding the coverage for the sea freight, which is our topic of today, as you see, you have the main port on this map. So we are really good all over the world. We are worldwide, and we have a good coverage. And this is the same regarding the air freight coverage as well. This is exactly the same. We have a really good coverage as well. So it was a really quick intro. Let's get some practice. So what we're gonna do right now is about 10 minutes of a demonstration of our tools. I'm jumping right now on our tool. So I'm connected on apply.com. As you can see, this is Damien Mironov with Apply, and I'm on the solution called Compare and Analyze. I will switch into English. There you go. There you go. So Compare and Analyze. And the first thing I want to show you today is our benchmark tool. This is a really powerful tool. And let's say I'm gonna go for the sea freight example. And let's go from CNSHA from Shanghai to FRLEH. And as you see at the end of this demonstration, you will have some comments of Jérôme regarding all the lanes and the actuality. Let's go for a 40-footer iCube and the price per container. Let's actually today I'm buying at 9,500, which is really nice at the moment. First of all, as you can see on the top of the screen, you have the summary of your lane, your main lane. The thing you have to know is we are on peer-to-peer since you have the port code right here, but you can also do door-to-door as well. You have the dispersion of your prices right here. So once again, based on our database, you have the dispersion from mean to max and the median price. The median price is actually about 1,100 euros for 40-footer iCube. Really important to know is the confidence index. It's going from A to E. A, which is the best index that you're gonna have on apply.com. It means that we are really powerful on this main lane. Our confidence index is based on 3 criteria. The first one is the frequency, on which frequency we have data from our suppliers. Of course, the number of providers, the more we have, the better will be the confidence index. And the last one, but not the least, is the volume of data on this lane. So with an A, it means that we have multiple suppliers, we have a good frequency, and of course, a good volume of data. Another key point is the last update, meaning that since it's the day it's today, it means that our database and the dispersion that you are looking right now has been updated on this morning. The last block I wanted to show you is the environmental impacts regarding the sea freight. As you can see, we are displaying to the user all the main impacts that you want to see when you are looking at the sea freight industries. A quick glance on our history tool. So the history tool will take a look on our historical prices. As you can see, the actual price skyrocketing right now, and you'll have some insight later on. But it will provide the historical price as of 24 months. Let's jump into, no, I will show you one more thing right now as well. You have our methodologies, key elements for you guys. It means that you can just have the methodology, you can look at it, you can read it. It's a PDF file that we are doing for you in order for you to know how we are handling data. Let's jump into the compare a budget. So the benchmark tool, as you can see, is really important for you when you have one lane and you want to go one by one. You have a price in mind and you want to check it right now real quick. But the compare a budget will be really helpful when you have thousands of lanes. So it will provide you a tool in order for you to create a report. You can download the templates, one template per mode and geographical view as well. So you have 4 templates. I already filled in templates. You just have to drag and drop your template in here. Okay, it's really easy. You can find it in your Finder or your browser. And then you have directly the report in few clicks, in few seconds. You have the report showing you all the lane you wanted to benchmark in a PDF file, really easy to use. I already downloaded it, so let's jump into, sorry. Let's open it then. There you go. And you have a really nice PDF file that you can actually see with a quick reminder regarding our methodology, and then you have the detail of all your lanes. So in this example, it was only 3 from Shanghai to Le Havre, and then you have exactly the same information that you had previously, but in a batch, in bulk, regarding thousands of lanes, if you want to. Let's go back on our compare and analyze solution, and then all the services. The last services I wanted to show you is regarding the trends. So the trends is a tool, really powerful tool as well. It's based on an index. So it means on this actual tool, we are doing, we are based on corridor. It means that we are aggregating all the data. So on a sea freight from Asia to Europe, we're actually aggregating all the port from Asia to all the port to Europe. And then we are calling this a corridor, and we are providing an index regarding this particular lane, okay? The based index, so it's based on 100. This 100 is on the 1st of January in 2017. And as you can see, it has been updated on the 26th of September, and the actual index is about 415. If you have a little star here, you can also see the future trends. It means that we are providing you a projection of this index. And as you can see here, from Asia to North America on the West Coast, we are expecting a decrease on this main index. Okay. That was a quick demonstration on what our tool can do. So I will jump into the main topic of this demonstration right now with Jérôme, with a quick question regarding what is the current situation of shipping transport right now.
Yes, thank you, Damien. Well, some people comment the current situation as a chaos. And to be honest, it is true that what we experience on the market today is really a concern. Very strong demand, some capacity issues on the market, skyrocketing prices, and maybe the most important topic is the lack of visibility and the lack of guarantee of feasibility of the operations in the current context between Asia and Europe. Compared to the pre-COVID situation, the price are 4 times what they were before the crisis, on one hand, and from the other hand, the time to market for the cargo ordered in Asia has doubled, nearly doubled. So it is really a tough world today, and really we can say that today the market is really in the hands of the carriers, of the liner carriers. This situation changed at the beginning of the COVID period. We can say that the market changed completely in March 2020, when effectively after a stop in the Chinese exportations during the first wave of COVID, we had then a huge recovery and a huge surge in demand. And what is very new today, it is that the seasonality that we used to cope with it on the market for decades is something which seems to be very different with this pandemic period. It is that seasonality is over, and it is an ongoing push from the demand side, who is, of course, putting some additional pressure on the market in order to get some cargo on board. We can also say that the current situation is related to a very concentrated game. Very concentrated game from the carrier side, now with 3 mega alliances who covers 80%, 84% of the total offer. So I may say that effectively, when one of these big alliances has a specific strategy on the market, it's quite easy for the two other alliances to behave in the same mood. What I'm going to say is very important. There is no collusion, to be honest, between carriers. It's not the topic. But there is very few players, and they work more or less with the same SI environment and the same application and the same. So I mean, everybody is taking the same decision at the same time without talking about it between each other, of course. But it's the way the market is driven for time being. So you have seen some announcements in the past weeks to cap from some carriers to cap the FAK rates at current levels, which are very high levels. Behind the scene, the game for the carriers today will be to get more profitability from the average market. And it is what Damien showed and shared with us on the past slides. That is to say that the heavy trend now is to bring the average market upwards. And that's a big game today for the shipping line. So definitely for the shippers, it's tough times, and it's time we will see in the next questions what are the potential case, if any, to try to navigate in this storm.
Yeah, this is a good point for the next question then. What are the company's pricing policies, and what are the mechanisms to push the price up?
Yeah, there is two key elements. The first key element is tension on the offer. That is to say, not to offer when you are a shipping line. Your offer is services, liner regular services from one hand, and from the other hand to provide some empty containers. There is problems on both parts of these services. Provide empty containers is a challenge, thanks to the very heavy demand. The issue is that now we can say that honestly the carriers are playing the game in order to empty reposition the containers as fast as they can at their own expenses. But the issue is that there is just not enough, and also that, to be very clear and to be very honest, the empty containers are in priority reposition where they can get the biggest price for export. So, and that is to say, it's a serious concern for European exporters, because it can be a temptation for the carriers to send the empties or to keep the empties in priority in Asia to get the quickest payback. So, from one hand, the container issue, which is to me structural and a very big issue, because there is a very few producers of containers. Most of them are in China. There is 3 big companies who produce container in China. And this question of container scarcity is really structural now, really structural. The other issue, it is liner services as such, in terms of vessel, in terms of regularity of the calls, in terms of regularity of the services. It is a big issue because we have seen that in the past years, the blank sailings, which were at first glance a tool, a defensive tool for the carriers in order not to lose more money than what they were losing, because I remind you that back in 2019, it's not a long time ago, liner shipping companies were in very, very bad shape, financially speaking. And everything has completely changed today, but it's still a short period of study. And of course, the blank sailing, particularly when there is some late announcement about blank sailings, have a very strong psychological impact and have also a clear impact on the feasibility of the business and on, I will say, also on port congestion, because what we experience and what we can see in the past months, it is that not talking about Long Beach and Los Angeles, which is a special topic, and to a certain extent, not talking about Rotterdam. But for all the other big ports, when you look at the statistics of the TEUs handled per port, there is no such drastic increase between the current situation and what we experienced before the pandemic crisis. The point is that as there is far less regularity in services, which normally are weekly services, usually are supposed to be weekly services, with a stop and go in terms of policy of calls per port, it doesn't help at all the stevedores to get the work organized. And you can have some congested terminals and congested ports with not that much containers that we used to handle in this port in the past. So the question of planification, the question of do a reset about the regular services, the weekly regular services, what we call the fixed windows regular services, is really something I think the shipper side has to push for, to ask for, particularly when we take in account the level of rates which have to be paid today.
All right, let's jump into the next question.
Yeah.
What can we expect for the annual tendering period among carriers, large shippers, since we're actually entering this tendering period?
Yes. Usually, effectively, for the what we call the BCO, beneficial cargo owners, that is to say the big shippers, I would say over 60, 70,000 TEUs per year minimum. These people are now preparing to enter into the negotiations. This year can be quite drastically different from the previous years. Why? Usually, when you enter in the tender season, you gave as a carrier a premium to what we call the early birds. That is to say, shippers who take some risk on the future market for the year to come usually have a slight premium on rates and on related services to these rates. This is what we experienced for the past tender season, which was during the pandemic, at the heart of the pandemic, with a lot of uncertainties. And what we have seen and what we experience, it is that the early birds, between brackets, benefited from, at large, from better prices from the carriers than the shippers who were expecting updates, who were a bit procrastinating in postponing their tender issues to an extent, playing with the forwarder market in between. This year, the signs we get from the market, it is that there will be no premium for the early birds. The negotiation between shipping lines and the big shippers will be drastically different, in my opinion. Why? Because, first of all, the shipping lines would like, between brackets, to upgrade the pricing conditions of the big shippers, and particularly of the early birds, who took a moderate increase during the past year. When I say about a moderate increase, I would say between around 20% compared to the year before, which is by today's standards considered as a moderate increase compared to the late birds and compared to the current market. And from the other hand, we think, and we have some signs, that the shipping lines will try to use this dominant position on the market to offer more services to the carriers. That is to say, to enter into discussions which will be maybe on longer-term contracts in order to regain stability. That is going in the direction of a win-win. The equipment topic and the guarantee to furnish and to get equipment available will be at the heart of the discussions too. And the price, of course, will be, I think, this year significantly higher in terms of increase for the early birds than it was last year. So what we can say at this stage, it is that go into more confident relationship between shippers and carriers, which is very difficult due to the past months' experience, will be all over related services that could be granted by the carriers to the shippers, and would be also related to longer-term contracts.
Thank you, Jérôme, for the insights. We'll take another question regarding the trends in shipping transport for the upcoming month. What do you think they're going to be?
To me, I think in terms of FAK rates, we are effectively now at levels that can go a lot of higher. Why? Because there is not always the services related to these very expensive prices. First point, question mark behind that. The other point, it is that we are now experiencing, this is some shippers' feedback, that there is some shipping transportation costs which are exceeding cargo value. So it pushes directly the question of the feasibility of the business. And we have seen effectively some players who just gave up, particularly some mid-size and some small-size players who just give up because in terms of margin, it just doesn't work. So the upward limit seems to be reached. Of course, the big game, as we mentioned before, will be for the carriers to try to have an upward trend for the average basket. That is to say, push up the long-term contracted rates with shippers, with a different way and a radical different approach between shipping lines and big carriers in terms of the range of services which will be offered. And on the second hand, a forwarder policy between shipping lines and forwarders, which will be to get as much as possible forwarder condition close to the FAK rates. Okay, so that is a heavy trend. And behind the scene, the digital news in the shipping world and with the company, because more and more shipping line offer now what we call dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing, that is to say that it's a chirurgical offer based on a vessel or based on a week or based on a very accurate prediction and data from the shipping line. And you can see effectively some dynamic pricing, which can be 20% below the published FAK rate for 1 week, for one vessel, for one short period of time. And I think that what the shipping lines have in mind, it is that forwarders enter into this dynamic pricing market, which is a new market. And to explain this market, this new market in a few words, the market of the dynamic pricing, it is what we experience at personal level when we use a website like booking.com, for example. Very, very briefly, it is what I can say on that.
We're gonna jump into the Q&A section. Just before that, I will provide some email address regarding Jerome and I. If you have any question, if you find the demonstration maybe too fast, we are available. If you want to have more insight from Jerome, we are available on this email. I will go back onto our tool as well. If you want to dive into more articles regarding the sea freight industries, but not only, you have our market insights. This is our blog where Jerome is actually contributing with the last article regarding the shipping needs regular services. As you can see, this is a really nice sources of information that you find here. We have article every week at least. So feel free to go. It's free as of today. It's free. So you can go on apply.com in order to find this information. Just one keyword before taking the question. One of the questions we often have from our attendees is regarding the sources of the data. We spoke about compare and analyze, and we have a database. I spoke a lot about the database during the demonstration. You have to know that our database is composed of only transactional prices. I said it a little bit earlier. We have 3,000 millions of data. So it's important for you to know from about 2,000 companies. And we have, of course, all our own user from compare and analyze, which is providing this information. And we have another product called the Marketplace, which is also giving us some data regarding this information that we are displaying to you today. This is a question that you might have regarding the data. Where does they come from? I'm taking the question right now from Christian. Are we able to get the CO2 emission when running a budget report? I will just provide to you the report, the actual results that you might have. As of today, this information is, wait for it, a little bit, sorry. As you can see here, this information is not available right now on the report. But you have to know that we are actually working on it in order for you to provide the environmental impact within the compare budget as well. So I hope I answered the first question. And another question from Hervé.
Yeah, thank you for these elements. We read on Maersk website that the situation can go further to Chinese New Year. Yes. Do you think the high price can go beyond February, March 2022? Yes, thank you. Hervé. Difficult to answer to this one for time being, but of course, the high pricing policies are now well installed in the long run. So we can see a lot of elements that could change this dynamic. Maybe one point from the shipper side. We talk a lot about the carrier side. We are going to try to defend a little bit the interest of the shippers also. It is the game. We are here not to take some parties, some part. We talk for everyone at Apply. The current situation regarding COVID in Vietnam, the current situation in China with a mix of elements affecting the production. That is to say, environmental issues, but also, to be honest, lack of coal. You know that there is a very tough embargo between Australia and China these days. The situation is very, very tense, very tense. And also the scarcity of the raw materials for the Chinese productions, which is really an issue. If you put all these factors together, it is quite possible that the crazy level of demand we experienced these past months slow down a bit. And if you take into consideration some new buildings that will enter in the fleets of the carriers to upgrade and to replace some smaller vessels, we may have an environment a bit more shipper favorable that may impact the price downwards. But the big question point that remains, it is the scarcity of containers. And even if liner shipping gets some improvement in terms of regularity, it can be quite difficult to solve this issue about lack of empty containers. So to answer to your question, Hervé, yes, I think we will remain in a quite tough environment in terms of pricing, maybe decreasing at the end of a little bit at the end of the tender season. That was the key difference if we compare to last year and if we try to project ourselves for the reason I explained, but big question mark. And also all the issue related with the pandemic, because the pandemic is not over. Things are improving in Western Europe, but big question mark about what is really happening in China, and what we see with more transparency from Vietnam is not really great news. Thanks, Eric, for your comment. Definitely long-term contract with more is key. Yes, I think so. Yeah, it's a good point, Eric. It is definitely the carrier's game these days. As a shipper, don't just buy CY port to port. Of course, port to port will remain the benchmark and will remain the key indicator. But clearly, we are entering a game now where big shipping lines have such a coverage in terms of offers, which is not limited on CY, of course, but inland transportation, forwarding for some of them, warehousing for some of them, air freight for some of them. No, it's true. It's true that we are entering in a different world. Hervé was talking about Maersk a few minutes ago. It's interesting in terms of communication to see that today Maersk doesn't consider himself anymore as a shipping line. It is a huge change. Huge change in mentality, and this is not only communication, it's a way to behave on the market, which is fastly moving, fastly changing.
And the last question will be regarding the prices, if it's actually including the freight forwarding margin. So we have both. We have both information in our database. We are breaking them down. When we are displaying it to you on our dispersion, it's not including the margin, of course, in order for you to get the main good transparent view on this site. But that's a good question I didn't mention. You have to know that when we are actually providing a price, let's say on sea freight from port to port, it's actually including our THC, the THC on origin and destination. You have to know that. All the main charges and taxes, let's say, except from the customs.
But to clearly answer to David, yes, they include the freight forwarder premium because what we reflect in our price is invoice price to the final customer. What we withdraw from the price, it is effectively the fees for the forwarder for managing the file and the fees that correspond to custom preparation work. And of course, customs costs are excluded.
So in order to just close up the webinar, thank you once again for your time. We do not have any more questions. You have to know that if you are going on apply.com on these pages where you have the pricing, you can start with a free trial. It's 30 days, unlimited access that you can have. So feel free to go to apply.com. I will jump into this slide. Once again, we are available. Our customer care is available for you. And we are available, Jérôme and I, by email. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you, Jérôme, for your insights.
Thank you, Damien. Thank you.
Have a great day,
Thank you
everyone.
to all the attendees and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.